It's been said that the runtime for Avengers Endgame Encore is going to be only 4 minutes longer than the original cut of the film. Now, to be honest, I really can't muster much enthusiasm for a version of the film that's just 4 minutes longer. Now, just recently, Marvel did release a trailer for Avengers Endgame Encore. We know that there's going to be some additional footage, most likely a post-credit scene of some kind, something that connects the film to Doomsday. It's been speculated that could involve Steve Rogers in some respect, and possibly along with some other scene thrown into the movie. Also, it's rumored that the scene between Scott Lang and his daughter Cassie could be reshot, and that the actress who played Cassie in Endgame, Emma Fuhrman, could be replaced by Catherine Newton, because she took over the role of Cassie in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Now, regardless, it doesn't sound like Endgame Encore is going to be like an absolute must-see before Doomsday. 4 minutes of extra material is hardly worth sitting through the entire movie again, for me anyway. Endgame is a long movie. It's 3 hours long. And like many of you, I've watched it a few times, and it's not a bad ending to the Infinity Saga. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Having said that, it's not the strongest ending it could have been. I have my criticisms. The end battle is a bit paint by numbers. There's also too much humor in the movie. Infinity War is a much more serious film. And there's some scenes there with the time travel plot device. Some of it in the build up to it, when they're testing how the time travel works, there's a bit too much humor there. Some of it's played for laughs. And of course, Fat Thor, I didn't like that. I didn't like what they did with Thor. They made him the butt of the jokes. No pun intended. Ultimately, I didn't like the whole 5 years blip thing, which is it's ultimately something that the MCU has dealt with since then. I didn't like that. But look, it could have been worse. I think there's some very good end story arcs for the characters, including Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. I thought they were handled well. But Endgame is definitely not as strong as Infinity War. And I don't think that's surprising. When you think about cliffhangers, the first part is usually the stronger of the two in most stories. And the same is true on television. I often think about the Best of Both Worlds, parts 1 and 2, for Star Trek The Next Generation. Part 1 is definitely better than part 2. The first part of the story allows you to build up the tension, build up to the shocking cliffhanger. It leaves you wanting more. The second part typically struggles to maintain the tension and the suspense and the momentum of the first part. And Endgame, it was a decent resolution to the Thanos Infinity Saga, even though I have a few gripes. But it did do its job as a conclusion, and I think it's satisfying enough. I don't have a great need to pay money to see it in the cinema again, however. An extra few minutes or an exclusive first look at Doomsday, it's not going to be enough to motivate me to go and see it. Now, it's very easy to call the re-release of Endgame a bit of a cash grab. But look, lots of big movies get re-released. Avatar, Titanic, The Lion King, Jaws, you name it. Lots of iconic movies have been re-released or had special editions. There's nothing unusual about that. Avengers Endgame made an enormous amount of money. Its re-release was inevitable. And the fact that Doomsday is coming very soon and the two films are connected, it makes sense. It makes sense for them to re-release this film now. I think it makes smart business sense. I can't really blame them. Now, regardless as to how much footage they squeeze into the film, one change I am very happy to see is the color grading. So you know that I've been a critic of the visual look and color grading of so many modern Hollywood films these days, and all too often, modern films can look dull, their colors are desaturated, even washed out, and I don't know why so many movies look this way. Well, good news. It appears Avengers Endgame Encore is going to give the movie a very nice visual makeover. This article is from comicbookmovie.com. Avengers Endgame Encore, Marvel Studios appears to have made some big changes to the film. Avengers Endgame Encore opens in theaters next month, and fans have noticed at least a couple of noteworthy changes made to the movie, both in terms of the dialogue and how it looks. More than any other change, the key thing for me there is that the film looks better. And I think what they've done with this new color grade is a significant upgrade. It gives the film visually so much more life and crispness. So hopefully this version of the film gets released on Blu-ray as the definitive version of the movie. It seems some tweaks have been made for those Infinity Vision screens, which, as a reminder, is a new certification for premium large format PLF theaters that guarantees moviegoers an exceptional film presentation with big screens, bright images, and outstanding sound. Well, certainly a brighter image and a more colourful presentation would be wonderful and very welcome indeed. It says the colour grading is much more vibrant, but has Disney just upped the contrast a little to create the impression that Infinity Vision screens will make the movie look better? That's currently being hotly debated, but it's entirely possible that, 7 years on, Marvel Studios has found a legitimate way to improve Avengers Endgame's visuals. And as you can see here, Cosmic Marvel on X has some image comparisons comparing the original Endgame from 2019 to Endgame Encore 2026, and as you can see, there's a big difference there in color grading. The blacks are much better, it's more vibrant. The original film looks washed out and dull. There's so much more color detail now. To me, this is a far more important change to the film than putting additional scenes in there. And it says there are also unverified rumblings about Emma Fuhrmann's Cassie Lang being swapped out with Catherine Newton, who took over the role in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So we shall see what happens there. Look, I kind of hope they don't change too much about the film, but like I say, I don't have much interest in seeing the film in the cinema again personally, but I completely understand why some people would love to go and watch this again. And I think if you want to, by all means, go and have fun. I think there's a lot of people who want to watch it for the cinematic experience of seeing it in the theater again with a great sound system, and who want to recapture the excitement of the 2019 energy. More so than going to see it for additional footage or a first look at Doomsday. Just seeing the film again and enjoying the experience. Look, I get it. Endgame was a massive deal when it came out. There had been huge anticipation for it, and there's fans who will very much enjoy catching it in the cinema again. So I think that's wonderful. In many ways, I actually wonder if Avengers Doomsday can live up to the cultural impact of Endgame. It is a tough act to follow in that respect. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell to be notified of future updates. Share the video out there. Take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.